Hey guys, so I'm about to go out and do a little bit more skid steer splitting. I went ahead and ran all that oak, and now I'm going to go ahead and split down those larger rounds that I cut off the processor that wouldn't quite fit under the top wing on the Wedge. Not sure if you saw that in the previous video or not, but I cut a few off it. That log, I put a tape measure to it, and it was 23 on the small end, went up to 28 on the large end, and that was measuring just kind of an oblong, you know, not quite round, a little bit oval log. So that was kind of measuring on the widest portion of the log. So the saw would cut it. The saw cut through it, no problem, all the way through the end of it there. But I just ejected most of the logs. I think I split maybe 3 or 4 of them, and ejected the rest of them out the side door, which is super nice to have the ability to do that. You know, when you're a little bit worried about whether it's going to fit under. I think the rest of the logs on that log would not have fit under the top wing on that 16-way wedge. And I also spoke about previously our previous wedges didn't have that top wing, so I could have pushed it through those wedges. I could have swapped wedges and done that, but I didn't want to do that. I'd rather just, you know, it's going to make a bunch of resplits off that 16-way wedge anyways, you know, so might as well just break it down with the inverted splitter and put it straight into a trailer. And it's going to make some really nice woods, good straight grain oak. So y'all stay tuned, and you'll be able to see me bust that stuff down and put it in that trailer. So I'm gonna get going. All right guys, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a tape measure out of the processor here, and I'm gonna measure up some of these, see how big they are, so that way y'all have an idea of how large of a log the 60C can cut. And like I say, it could split these two. Just that top wing is the limitation on this wedge. So, and I mean, for, you know, 98% of the logs we get, that's not an issue. That top wing being where it is, it's probably in a great spot for most of the wood to keep it from, you know, falling backwards into the splitter trough is really what that top wing is for. And it works great for that. Let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about in case you didn't see the previous video. So it's just this top wing right here. The wedge will only go so high, and then this top wing was catching on, you know, after I did about 3 or 4 rounds off of this log, it was right there at it, and I just didn't want to push my luck and get one jammed up in there. So let's see what these logs measure up at. This was the very last one right here, and 23 that way, 25 that way, yeah, 26 right in there. Let's see. So this is some big wood, 22 and a half, 23. There we go. About 26 on that one. Yeah, 25. So really big logs here. They're gonna make great firewood. 23 and a half. Yep. So yeah, all really big stuff. I mean, I know it's not the biggest log that I've put through the processor. I have put one where it actually hit the arbor of the saw. You know, this is a 60-inch blade on there, so, you know, I've had one where it wouldn't even cut all the way through. Let's see if I can get a tape measure on that just to see how long it is from the arbor all the way up. Yeah, about 26. So I know I've cut through some stuff that's a little bit over 26. I've had some where I've even had to finish it off with a chainsaw, and you know, just because I was almost all the way through it, and just finished off a little cut with a chainsaw. So these aren't quite that big, but these are some monsters, good sized logs. They'll make a lot of wood, and I'll get y'all set up so y'all can watch me bust these down with the ram splitter attached to the T190 there. So we'll get this taken care of. guys, well, we're gonna wrap this one up. Went ahead and got all that busted up, put into the trailer. It's pretty quick doing it like this. I mean, you know, as long as you're able to get, you know, as long as you're not moving the logs very far. So it's kind of nice just having them right here, just busting them right into the back there into a sizable piece to then get taken over to the splitter and resplit into finished firewood. So, but that's going to make some really good wood. I wish we could have just run it right through the wedge on the processor, but those were just a little bit too big for that. So, but I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.